Hello War of the Visions fans, I'm Jackie Fox and today we're going to be doing an arena showcase video. And in that arena showcase video, I'm going to be showing you how to beat Sephiroth reliably. You might think this is an easy thing as, he's a fire unit, just use water, Jackie. But first, he shows up on a variety of mixed teams that can be difficult for really everybody to combat. But also, there's a point in the rotation of the last three units. They have all been about water in some way. Fire has been given the ability to turn off that which water is currently doing best, which is sustain healing through combat. Curse just wipes that out entirely. So now it's a little bit harder to bully fire with water. But also the current unit, Gilgamesh, is kind of like a peace offering to water in that he works generally pretty well in a lot of combinations with water units. And then finally, Luciel is finally, like way overdue we have been for this effect. But she's finally giving lightning teams enough sustain that even though they should have advantages versus water, they just can't keep doing damage and they can't keep taking damage in the same way that water can. And they can get super overwhelmed by a well-built water team very easily, especially if Summer Glaciella is involved. So you're going to see 5 units I'm going to be using here. If you started watching this channel with my beginner pulls video, then you'll note that the top 2 here, the ones that are going to be on every version of every team that I want you to make note of, are the ones I told you to pull for, I don't know, like 3 or 4 different starts. So from there, if you compete in arena regularly, you should eventually get Veritas of the Waters. Might take a while, but that's the easiest third partner for this team. And for that, I'm going to be doing some interesting stuff that I'm going to show you in the video. This last column down here at the bottom, this is what I think they still need in their kit. And you'll see for her, it's AP denial and movement down. Movement down being because I want her to spend a little bit more time in support mode, and she will go out of that and go into damage mode very easily if you don't reduce her movement just a little bit in the beginning. Also, because of the AP denial, she's kind of wasting a turn, and I want her to get into some of her buffs because they're pretty good. So I think those two things together is really kind of what her kit needs. So for June, very fast unit, tank HP, she's got an auto heal, she has 50% HP absorb, she has courage and the ability to protect courage. Her AP isn't great, she only gets AP on KO. Her sure hit also isn't great because it's a single target skill. These are actually, this is the same skill, I'm describing the same skill, right? And what she really needs in her kit is haste. I mean, she's very fast, so haste is going to do a lot for her. But also AP regen or AP cost down because she doesn't really have great AP economy by herself. And like, her HP can sometimes outlive her ability to deal damage properly with good AP, so this will help that. Elda is fast-ish. He's probably the slower unit that we have here in that he doesn't, like, he's the same base speed as a lot of them, but he doesn't get any way of boosting his speed through his passives. He does have the ability to do CT up and down shenanigans, lowering the opponent's CT, raising your entire team's CT, just a bunch of CT spam from him. It's interesting, it's very powerful, but I think a lot of it is linked to his limit burst, and my review of him since the very beginning has been, this character is great if you can get his limit burst to go off, but it can be a little hard. Now he has re-raise and some HP absorb on skills, but not quite to the same level as June. As you can see, his HP economy isn't quite as good, but he can actually, with certain skills, recover HP about as well as she can, too, so that's pretty neat. He also has AP Restore built into his kit and is very accurate, plus can boost allies' accuracy by 60. This is also alpha of that LB. Again, LB is big if it lands. So for him, I think he needs haste, accuracy, and like passive HP absorb to supplement what he's already doing would be pretty great. He doesn't really need the accuracy, much like June doesn't really need haste, she's already pretty fast, but it would definitely help build towards his strengths. Veritas of the Waters, fast, really low attack time natively. Non-attack time's a little bit longer, so she's not as good of a healer as she is an attacker, or maybe debuffer. She also has CT up mechanics in her kit, a counter heal, double re-raise, and potential AoE poison. So very strong for helping herself and her team, but also she can debilitate the other team well too. She also has a skill which gives AP down 15%, so that can hit really hard on opponent's AP. And since she's a mage, I should have included that she has a magic start, so she doesn't have any AP problems at all. She's AP flooded from the beginning of the fight. She has accuracy up, evasion down, and confusion, which will stop people from evading entirely. So interesting anti-evasion combination there, but nothing that's like maybe the more traditional stuff for evasion. It's interesting. And then Summer Glaciella, I think she's the second best water unit in the game, probably, at least generally speaking, because she can be used on a lot more teams than Elda can. So she's going to be fast. She also has some CT down, but it's not huge. She has tank HP. She has a very strong healing power. Usually I don't list healing power for these units, but hers is just layered. She has courage with an auto heal, and she can dispel re-raise. That's a great combination. She has nothing that I could find that helps her AP economy. She may get a red mage start, but I kind of doubt it. I think she has a regular low AP start, so definitely getting some AP regen or AP cost down would be really good for her, along with some haste, because she could use a little additional speed as a tank to get her out in front of people and keep her up with the rest of the team, which is also pretty fast. She has Sure Hit and an AoE, which also inflicts Stop. If that lands as a status effect, and it's guaranteed to hit, but if it lands as a status effect, then now everything has become guaranteed hit against that character. They can't dodge anything, much like Confusion. Also, accuracy up is pretty cool for her. Now this third slot, which is either Veritas of the Waters, Summer Glaciella, or Ferris, is what I like to call the lamb. Because especially on this map, this lamb is probably going straight to slaughter. For Veritas of the Waters, the reason she works really well in this particular slot is that, I mean, she works really well already with the AP denial and move down strategy, and I'm going to be giving that equipment to any character in this slot, so it's going to be going on Ferris as well. But also drawing more initial hate to Summer Glaciella, not a problem. In fact, she might not even need that to draw off the slaughter from the rest of the team. The important thing is that our other units don't get slaughtered, because this can still ruin a fight. So finally, for Ferris, who I'm also going to be using in this video, she's fast, she can vitalize herself, she can dispel haste, she has CT up and down mechanics, and a sequence heal. Other than that, no real healing in her kit, other than her ability to equip the Blood Sword. She has AP on KO, as well as AP cost down, so her AP economy is maybe the best of any of these other than Elda. They're pretty well sustainable. Also, she has good accuracy up. But what she could really use is more haste, more accuracy, and some HP absorb, kind of like Elda. Except I wouldn't say the accuracy is as important for her here. Really, the Blood Sword in general I should have put here. Just put the Blood Sword on her, it'll be great. In terms of what we're targeting with this team, obviously it's meant to go up against Sephiroth mainly. And he is right dead in the middle of this chart in terms of what I hope to target. In that he's not the best thing for us to go against, but he's also not the worst. He is definitely a formidable opponent and should not be taken lightly, but also I think we've kind of maximized our ability to beat him. But the wide variety of things that it takes to build a strategy that beats such a complex character also brings a lot of other people into question. A lot of fire units, obviously. But I want to point out a lot of these units who all just fail to Bladestream. We have Sephiroth the original, Sephiroth the new, Oberon the auspicious, Locke, Ashen Mont, to a certain degree, Kadaj. Also, Elda himself, AP Restore in his kit too. All of these characters can get significantly handicapped on their AP economy by the Bladestream. And Sephiroth has a lot of good synergies with especially Oberon the Auspicious and Ashen Mont, so he's often on teams with those. And we can really mess those boys up. Other things tanks that are meant to go up against magic, we can usually cut through those pretty easily. Rain is especially easy to get through. Even Charlotte can be pretty easy to get through despite the elemental issues, especially because she's very weak to piercing. And then Dario, as a more modern magic tank, is a little bit better into our team, but still not ideal. And we'll still generally win matchups where he's one of the more important units for the opposing team. Also, let's see, who's left? Warrior of Light, I think, is pretty easy for this team because his main selling point is he has a lot of HP and a lot of HP sustain. We do that better than anybody else in the game right now. It's not as big of an advantage for him as it could be, because we're like, oh yeah, we can do that while doing damage, and you tickle like a feather. For Sweetheart Ildira, it's because she's not the most evasive of the fire evasion units, so she's relatively easy to take out for Elda, and even to a certain degree for June, and you know, maybe even Folka could deal with her pretty well as well. Folka's also probably a little bit better at dealing with Soul. Soul can be a little bit hardened to physical units, which is why he's in that middle category, but he's easy enough to take out. His healing can get kind of annoying, but he, much like Dario right next to him, but he's pretty easy to take out. And then in terms of fire tanks, I would much rather get Rain than Mont, but, well, first of all, there aren't a lot of people running fire tanks except for Volke, and I'm trying to avoid him. He's not a great matchup for this team. We beat him in this video, but I'm trying to avoid him maybe most of the fire units. But Mont, I mean, he at least matches up well into the type of damage that we're dealing, so he can maybe reduce and distract our team for a while. He can even disable, which is really annoying, but ultimately not the biggest thing to worry about. The things that we do decently into, Kadaj, Helena, we can remove her AoE resistances through June. That can work out pretty well for us. Elda falls to Bladestream. AoE resistance problems are the same for Cloud, but he can be a little bit of trouble. Yuffie is a decent matchup, but she can be too evasive. If Yuffie survives past Elda on our side, we lose. Our other units aren't going to hit her. But usually we can do well against her. And then Resnick is currently the best thing that Lightning has to beef its sustain to the point where it can keep up with this team. So she can be a little bit of a problem. But on the other hand, we can probably heal during combat faster than she can heal her team at the moment, because she's a little bit slower of a healer than Luciel would be. She doesn't have some of the same advantages. Luciel's more tuned to replace her and actually make her work better against a team like this, make the sustain a lot more comparable. But I think we can take her out pretty easily. Elda has pretty good range. She reaches into the back row and takes some people out fairly easily in matches. Okay, so let's start the footage with showing you how quickly things can go wrong, even for a well-situated team. Now, this isn't exactly a versus fire matchup, and I'm going to show you the fire matchups a lot later. They can get really interesting because Curse can be really dynamic in these fights, and we're going to have to build up a lot of different types of advantages to really be able to effectively counteract the amount of impact that that can have on our play, but we can play around it. Also, though, we're usually relying on people not blade streaming us too. That wasn't good in this match either. But the thing that is really screwing us up is that this team has no lamb. Or at least, the lamb's on the wrong side of the map. The lamb in this case is definitely Ferris, but Ferris is not going to get close enough to Sephiroth before he can use his LB to draw him over that way. For that reason, while she is the one that I most don't care if she gets cursed or not, well, yeah, the rest of my team's getting cursed. My HP drainers cannot drain HP, and while they still have a decent matchup into him, the rest of the team is going to brutalize them pretty fast. So, as you can see, Sephiroth can really screw this match up, and if you're thinking that this match would go significantly better if the rest of the team was fire, not really. Two of my units getting cursed is really bad, especially if it's those two. Generally, you want to use that sacrificial lamb to make sure You lead that lamb to the slaughter so that this doesn't happen, because if you get into this scenario, you're in trouble. But it's not just... but, like, I don't want this to be about this team composition beating me specifically. It's really just Sephiroth on 1 that's doing the work. We can beat this team. This composition, not particularly hard. And as you can see, we're going kind of hard against their team despite the disadvantage. We just don't quite have the sustain to see it through. We came close. Okay, so the first team that I want to show you here is with Veritas of the Waters. This is the one that anyone is going to be able to pretty easily replicate. And also, this part of the strategy is a little bit funky, so check it out. First, we're going to increase hate and decrease movement. This is going to give her more time to buff, and that's going to be important because her first buff is going to be Bladestream. So we still want her to be able to get into the rest of her kit, but we also want her to be fast and able to buff multiple times while still using Bladestream. On a map this small, Bladestream is especially impactful, and the reason that I say this is because this, especially with her extending the buff time, there's 1 to 2 turns of that attack debuff and such is going to be active that's really going to mess with her. Also, wow, my trust runes are a mess on this character. This is why you always set both sides of this auto set formation thing. Ooh, because it will mess up the other side. Now, need to do a little bit of fine tuning here because I want curse resistance on her. If she's going to be the sacrificial lamb, then I'm going to at least need to reduce her curse chances a bit. She is a mage, so she is kind of ideal as a lamb in this case. Like, maybe the cursed lamb should more often be Summer Glaciella, but don't have her. So let's give this a shot. Actually, I think this guy comments on my videos. Riken Ninja, if I see you in the comments, or maybe you're one of my friends in game. Not sure. Maybe both, actually. I definitely recognize the name. So we're seeing a really similar setup from that side. No Bladestream. I think I've got a lot of economy advantages here over Kuja. Kuja is good, though, so I'm scared of this team. But I think one of the big things that I've noticed, building for economy and having a strong theory of why your team works and making it work consistently, is that into mirror matches or into like slightly up the ladder matches, which I would say this is, I don't know. Kuja and Elda are both pretty strong. They're good for different reasons, maybe. Kuja scares me though. But into a mirror match like this, because we're doing what we do the best we can do it in these ways, we're probably gonna win. I mean, it might really come down to the wire and be like a thin margin of victory, but we should typically win these for a variety of reasons and do pretty well. But oh my gosh, we're already getting beat up. Oh no, they got past the Bladestream with Kadaj, which he's really good at. But it looks like we are going to obliterate him, especially with that extra CT. Good to see him get his LB off. That's always a good sign in a match. Okay, so Veritas of the Waters is down. We have traded characters. We're about even in terms of damage taken, but we're really teaming up on this June. We also really heavily handicapped her healing power, so that's really good for us right before she got that threshold heal off. It's also keeping her regular heals from doing as much. Like, her HP drain isn't draining as drainily as it had drained before. As you can see, we're definitely draining a lot harder. One thing I will say I'm jealous of Riken Ninja's formation is that he did actually get her to use re-raise, but that was really because she wasn't wasting that Bladestream turn. Like, mine could be doing that too. And frankly, I think the Bladestream is probably the better option still. Also, the reason that I reformulated this team to run Elda and Joom in the center now is because I realized, and I had forgotten about this. It's surprising because I play him a lot, but Elda I never see him use this buff, so I rearranged his buff order a little bit. But check out this second buff here. He has a physical damage boosting aura. It boosts physical damage 40% if you're within 3 spaces of him. So, highest potential damage Joom unlocked. Let's see what she can do versus a Sephiroth, who should have really good elemental resistances. This did trigger her to go with her anti-elemental resistance kit and break some of his resistances. But we're on a good place right now. And again, this is the same kind of mixed team that took us out there in the beginning. As you can see, Ferris definitely did some damage over there, but Ferris distracting the hell out of their team while also doing some damage also ate most of their AP. Now, we've been on the other side, restoring our AP and just dealing with problems as they come, or having really good AP consumption, not really worrying too bad about our AP economy with what we were doing. They were just wasting their AP over here in this corner, and they didn't have nearly as much to waste. So AP economy made it so that throwing a lamb out there really messed them up. Now, I did eventually put Folka into more of an anti-fire composition, which will be featured later in the video, but I also wanted to show you guys some Ferris footage, and this actually came first. So this was kind of how I was testing this whole thing out. As you can see, wow, this guy has some stats. But this is the one that's going to increase physical damage for allies, and this is the one that I'm going to be trying to activate for him with Joom. We have a lot of accuracy, agility, attack, frankly, and HP. Over 2,000 attack on this formation. Self to protect Leonis is doing a lot. I think Trick Lancer lore could be switched out, but I'm not really sure what else I would use here. He's already doing good enough in most of these respects, although maybe raising his HP, since he's such a good draining unit, could work in his favor. I don't know. I think I'm going to leave Trick Lancer lore, but I am definitely going to change his sub-job here in a second. I'm pretty sure there's very little that Paladin is actually doing for him. Also, pretty well-rounded resistances. Unit and area attack resistance is both pretty high. Also, he's got that wider area resistance, or not wider area, yeah, wider area resistance from his armor as well. So even higher than it looks. Ferris here has a lot of area resistance and an option. So it feels a little bit redundant to run sea legs and the bow tie to get her down to 3 move. So I'm going to try a couple different things throughout this video. I'm going to try her with and without sea legs. So we've got an AP reducer here. I think that could be really useful. Also, chance of disable, which could be really good against evasion as well. So that could be a cool one for letting the rest of the team attack him. Or attack the character. So pretty decent agility here. Not great accuracy, but you can see the HP is pretty high and our attack is pretty high. Also got the blood sword. That's going to help us heal, but it's really one of the only ways that she is going to be healing all that much. But let's get that HP and attack up a little bit further instead of sea legs. This is going to bring her movement down to 2. Hopefully maybe give her more time to buff. This could make her less effective as our lamb, but it also might work. We'll have to see if things... This could make her less effective as our lamb, or it could work. But we'll have to see how close she gets to things and how good she can draw things in. 15,000 HP nearly, with about 2,000 attack. Wow, Joom, you're ridiculous. Also some extra healing power, curse resistance. Orca Boots is going to push that HP up really, really high if she ever activates it, but I haven't seen her do it. Also, that haste would be really sweet for her. But she also has amazing buffs as it is. It's really hard to consider turning one of them off to get her to do this. Also, Save the Queen here. I managed to miss this in my video because I forgot they did this, but AP cost rate down 20 is really good for her AP economy. This is helping her a lot. And I would say it's almost a requirement given the state of her AP economy as it is. This is going to give her a lot of physical damage reductions while she has full HP, which is really good because she can bring herself back up to full HP a lot better than most characters can. So now that you've seen both team setups, let's check out some battles. This first one is going to be with Folka here. We're going to get our buffs up on this side. These two are very good at buddy buffing each other. Just a lot of value here. It takes a little while to read all of the things that they're doing. Mont and Sephiroth are kind of the same way though. They have some really, really heavy buddy buffs. But the economy issue here that we're creating through Bladestream is hopefully going to hold back both Mont and Sephiroth from reaching their highest power. But Sephiroth has got a number of buff turns in, and this has naturally raised his AP a good bit, so he's going to be a little bit more trouble than Mont, who in slot 1 got baited a lot more and is going to run out of AP really quickly. Not that's going to be super important. He also got baited out of using his courage, so he went down actually pretty easily. I will absolutely take a trade of Ash and Mont for Folka, 100%. Except that Folka didn't actually manage to bait Curse, and now we're cursed, which is a problem, but I think that we have done so much work into... Oh shit, he dodged. Okay, random chance can fuck us up, but we're doing really good into this match already. Even though we're cursed, we should be able to win despite it. Okay, courage. We're almost there, and we win. Cool. That was a little tense. That was some clutch curse, but sometimes he doesn't use that right away. Here we go with another fire team. And for this one, we're going to be using Ferris. And we're going to see how playing with her movement affects her. So right here she has 3 movement, which means she's running sea legs for this fight. The advantage of this is that she'll get closer to the opponents pretty quickly. Also, if she runs out of AP while she's like up this little alleyway, she will double back and probably buff herself, which is pretty cool. I've noticed this on a lot of physical units that run out of AP in there. Now she did just use that skill to buff her AP, so that makes this, I guess, less likely. But if she's really able to significantly hamper those two over there, since they can't AP restore, if she can really waste their AP right now, then we're probably going to win this fight. That's really how this strategy works. Also, she baited the curse. Our lamb is doing good work, and wow, got him on the counter. Yeah, these two are doing so good on the main side of the field that it's kind of embarrassing for the other side. They did manage to wait long enough to get their AP restore in, and they're healing all right. I mean, they're healing pretty good for fire. Fire doesn't have the best healing sustain, but they're making it work, and Sephiroth is trying to keep it up, although he's flown away to like the very edge of the map. He is trying his best to fly out of this arena right now. Also getting another dodge. This boy, he really likes to dodge my attacks in clutch moments, but we got him on the ropes, so this shouldn't be too hard. Okay, this is almost a fire team. We do have a Joom on here, so this is also maybe a little bit of a mirror match. But mainly a versus fire. Hio was one of those characters where it was just... I'm not sure what he really would do in this fight that would redeem himself, that would make him a standout fire unit. He does have some sustain, he does have some extra counters and the ability to counter heal, but I don't think he's going to last long enough to really be able to utilize much of that stuff consistently. The bait is working so far. We haven't drawn the curse yet, but we've almost, and we should be able to do it with the, oh wow, that was some overkill. Yeah, only 14,998 damage, more than I needed. in one hit. Jeez, Elda. Refreshing that physical damage boost. I think June is far enough away from it that it wouldn't work for her standing where she is, but she's probably going to move in range of it before dealing damage. She is cursed. She's probably the one who's most impacted by curse, but she is standing in range of that damage boost, which is going to help, I guess. Courage remove. Ooh, okay. Tap the June out. She was more dangerous surviving, but especially within range of that physical damage boost, you can see how crazy June's damage can get versus a character like this. Okay, so this fire team is going to have a little bit of an evasion and also a physical tank. Physical tank is pretty old and the evasion is lower cost, so less effective. But either of these units is a soft problem for my team. In some situations at least. And there are cases where if Ildira outsurvives Elda's ability to tank and deal damage, if she outlasts him, then I probably lose. Also, Mont can get some really clutch disables. I don't think it's enough. I don't think he's doing enough even when that happens, that it really swings the fight for him in the same way that Widespread Curse can. But it can definitely really handicap a single unit for a good period of time. Like, Elda is going to be completely useless for a while into this matchup in a bad way. But we did bait the curse. Ferris is not accurate enough to hit Ildira, but Ildira is not powerful enough to just claw through Ferris. At least not right away. Mont is tanking alright. It's pretty easy since he is kind of now one-on-oneing a physical unit. That made it a lot easier. But Elda's back now. He's back for round 2 of the fight, now that we're down to 2v2. And it's pretty remarkable like how even a lot of these matches go these days in Arena. Oh, they got the courage remove and the heal. Oh, but we did a lot of damage, and that was with. Was that with armor piercer? That is not the skill you expect him to use. That's off of the clairvoyant astrologer vision card, very old vision card that lancers can use to remove defense from people. And I guess there was some pretty high defense there. He felt needed to get broken before that guy died. This is going to be another fire team. We once again have a physical tank. This time the curveball is going to be more of Kefka. Kefka can be a little bit of a problem. Confusion maybe especially, but I actually remember this fight being pretty funny when the confusion landed. Like, it just got kind of just laughable. So I'm going to shut my yap and just let you enjoy this one. Alright, so he landed confusion on most of my team and then went straight down. Sephiroth barely survived that one, but one confused unit is going to save the second. This confusion really backfired. Also, the second attack that she got in there was against the unit with a physical shield, so she just, if anything, helped more than she hurt, for sure, with confusion there. And that's one of those weird things where, like, that's one of the situations where confusion is just doing nothing. Now, arguably, I think my best matchup all around here is versus Oberon the Auspicious and Sephiroth the One-Winged. And this is a tough fight. Like, especially if you don't have Bladestream, this can be a really overwhelming team to fight. Their natural synergies are really strong. They line up with each other really well. They make an amazing team, but the same thing that makes them amazing partners for each other also gives them similar weaknesses. And unfortunately for them, some of those weaknesses happen to be fairly exploitable. And since they're both in fire, I mean, that just means that certain teams have additional advantages over both of them when running Bladestream. We've drawn the curse, and we've drawn out most of their AP. So Bladestream is absolutely doing its work at, like, pre-digesting this team for us. I don't even think he got his threshold heal off. Like, he died too fast to even threshold heal. Over on the Auspicious, feels like he needs a little extra stop loss. Someone to give him courage or re-raise. Seems like it would be nice to make sure that that threshold heal triggers more often. Or maybe it's a buff thing for him. I'm not as familiar with the entirety of his kit, as I just don't have him. And until people started pulling One-Wing Sephiroth, I barely saw him in combat either, so... I've been hunting him recently because he really lines up with my Bladestream strategy. But, by the way, I did include Shalza on the units I'm targeting. It's not because we have a bad matchup into her per se, but she can push a team to be resilient enough to give us a little bit more trouble. She can be, it's weird, she's kind of better than this in some ways than Resnick even being a lightning unit. The thing is, I'm never really scared of her as a character. I'm scared of the two characters she's played with. So if they're good and she's providing them effective support, that can be a problem for me. But if the other two characters with her I counter easily, or at least relatively easily like I do these two, then sure, she can do whatever she wants. I'll take care of her last. It's worked pretty consistently for me so far. Don't think I'm going to change up the strategy now. So, she's not a character that I'm looking for, but I'm absolutely not concerned if she's on the team. And the same is true of Doom the Spring Celestial. Again, she wasn't on my targeted list, but she makes it onto a lot of these supergroup teams. And if the supergroup contains Sephiroth and Ash and Mon, then I think I can get a pretty good advantage over it with Bladestream. Also, finally, a situation where we got a re-raise off. Or two. But also, they got a full life off. But also, that didn't do much damage at all, if none, to Elda because of his barrier. I think we're actually going to finish this one with full health, guys. This is pretty far into the day, too. But as I've been fighting fire pretty consistently and being able to find them pretty consistently, I'm wondering if maybe I can't make my strategy at least a little bit more fire specific in a way that might be able to help me win some more matches. See, Folka seems like she's struggling on the threshold with her elemental resistance buff and benefits to defense and spirit. Like, she's kind of dangling on the edge of being able to resist fire opponents. And right now with that buff, she would have about 50% fire resistance, but those are some rookie numbers. So how about we unleash Folka a bit? Really throw some restraint away and have her fight. Just be in the middle of it, you know? And a little bit less of a lamb here. Still definitely rushing out in that lane and trying to draw off Curse away from the rest of my team, still definitely fulfilling that function. But I want her to survive. And an extra 20 fire resistance might be able to help with that. And in fact, we can push that a little bit further as well. But the Tide Ring over the producer's bow tie is going to be big here. Now, importantly, this won't give her hate, so this could cause some issues there. At least with her lamb status. But I think she's going to get out in front enough to still be a pretty effective lamb for us. we'll see how that curse lines up with us. Also, moving over to a water esper should be able to push that resistance just a little bit further. Yeah, that's looking good. So let's go do one of the easiest things of the day and find a fire team in arena. Or at least a fire team that doesn't have Sephiroth up front. Pretty easy. Oh, we got an Oberon. Oh, this is going to be an easy one. Great, great, great. Good things will happen. I am blessed with fortune. Speaking of blessings of fortune, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment down there in the comments, tell me what teams you're using, what strategies you would like to see tested, especially on a week like this where I have not lucked out on Gilgamesh yet. I am willing to test some other things, and I can put kind of an economic spin on a popular team or something that you want to see tested. As long as I have the units and can team them up with each other, then I'll try it out for you maybe. I don't know. I also have like a 10-day backlog of content that needs to be released. So maybe adding more to that's not the thing. But if you have any ideas or suggestions, maybe that'll make it to my next showcase video, put them down there in the comments. It's also worth noting that there is a link in the description, a Linktree link that will lead you to my main channel, also to my podcast, which you can listen to. I'm trying to go for like weekly recently on Spotify. Also, you could check out my books. There's going to be links to series of books as well as some of my newer fiction in that link in the description, as well as links to ways to donate to the channel if you'd like to. So all of that is options for you, but it looks like we got some more fire to fight here. But I think a lot of the spicy moments have ended. If you want to keep watching, I'm going to keep riding this ship for another 4 fights, all the way to about 700, 500, something like that. But for me, you've seen most of these teams before. You've seen me fight them before. You know mostly what's going to happen. But for those of you who are obsessed over these things, I'll let it play out for you. But I'm... bye. Oh, thank you for listening. I'm Jackie Fax. This has been The Arena. Welcome to the Arena Showcase video. Goodbye. And with all that being said, I'll see you in the next one.